Hello and welcome to the workshop. Today we're going to put together the SainSMART Genmitsu PROVerXL 6050 Plus CNC Router, which is the best part assembled kit that I've ever come across. It is absolutely a beautiful machine. Now I'm going to follow the manual guide as closely as I can, but there's a couple of things due to, I suppose, my age, so I'm nearly 70, and the weight of some of the components. I think there's an easier way to do it for me. So we're going to start by putting the rubber feet on by using the 20mm by 5mm thread cap head screws. Every packet of screws are labelled and you can cross-reference them in the booklet, which is a beautiful colour booklet. I don't know whether the camera's picking that up because the lights are quite strong in here, but it's very well put together. Not only the machine but the actual user manual as well. So we'll make a start. The first couple of jobs that I'm going to do with the assembly of this is my way of doing it. So it's going to jump around a couple of pages in the book. So the first thing we should do with this kit is run around the entire machine that is built already, checking to see that all the screws are indeed tight. I have, and they all are. Second job, now I'm not expecting this to be even, 10 thou out, is check the squareness of the chassis. And you just go from corner to corner with a fairly good rule. And that is, this is reading 982 millimeters, and this way is exactly the same, 982. So we're off to a really good start. Everything's tight that's already on there, and indeed the chassis is absolutely square. So now what we're going to do is turn it over. Be careful with this, it's quite heavy. Alright. Okay, so now we turn it back over onto its feet, and the next job we're going to do is fit the gantry side plates or risers. Now there's two machined out areas. There's a slot here. Now that connects obviously to the Y-axis crossbeam, and there's also a machined area here that the gantry fits into. Now there's quite a special way of putting the gantry in. Do not bolt these on tight and flex them apart to put the gantry in. It's defeating the object. You're trying to keep this as precision as possible. So what we're going to do is get the 20mm by 5mm thread cap head screws, and we're going to mount these on loosely. Now there's a left and a right hand side, so we're facing the front of the machine. This is the left hand side of the machine, so this is the left hand side one, and it should be facing, when it's mounted to the cross beam, the Y cross beam, it should be facing back. Now I use a motorized screwdriver actually to assist me. So we're not up to doing it tight, where we just want them taken up on the thread like that. So do them up and just back it off half a thread. I'm going to do the same the other side. So now we're going to fit the gantry. So these now can just be moved. They're just backed off half a turn. Okay? But they're on there quite solid. So now what we're going to do is bring this all the way to the back. I'm going to catch hold of the machine or the chassis and turn it out like this. And we're going to get something to steady it there. Now I'm actually using the cardboard strengthening packing pieces just to steady it there. We don't want it falling over on me, or we don't want it falling over at all. So it's just there to steady it. And what I'm doing is making sure that this is completely 90 degrees. And now we're going to put the gantry in. So now this is in a steady position. It's not going to flop over on you. Okay, so what you do as these are slack is just open them up like so. Get your gantry. Now this is about 15-18 kilos, so that's why I'm doing it this way. And as we have these splayed out, we just put the drive of the X through that hole as far as it'll go, and just slot this into here and then close the plates up. And they're like in a dowel position. There you go. And the gantry now is in its doweling or machined area on the gantry risers. So now you get your 16mm by 5mm thread cap head screws. You have to move this around a little just to get them lined up. Okay, so I've just run these bolts in, but they're still quite slack. And I've done the same the other side. So what you need to do then is do these screws up tight first. And the same the other side. Then tighten up the gantry retaining screws. And the same the other side. Then you can remove your steadies. It won't go anywhere now because the weight of the gantry is holding it. And then just tip it back over on its feet. So now it is at this point you assemble the Y-axis lead screw. Now it has a machined short end and a machined long end with a flat on it. This goes to the rear of the machine because this is where the Y-axis stepper motor actually connects onto. Now there is a special way of putting this together because there is an anti-backlash mechanism. It's a spring-loaded mechanism inside the center of the y-axis beam. So I'll bring you up for a close-up and show you the correct way of putting the lead screw into that anti-backlash mechanism. So I'm going to feed the lead screw in from the back of the machine. Now the back of the machine obviously is where the gantry is laying back, and you have the 4 grouped holes and the bearing hole here. So what we're going to do is put this through, feed it up to the anti-backlash mechanism, and push it in, and you see it's sprung loaded. So push it in as far as it'll go and start turning it in a clockwise direction. Still pushing it in. Keep on going. Okay, so do you notice what happened there? I'll just wind it back. Okay, so it's free. So I'm pushing forward, turning it, and okay, it's just gone into the secondary threaded, or the forward threaded anti-backlash nut. Now that is in perfectly, and you'll feel it's firmer now. Okay, and you can catch hold of it, and you shouldn't be able to move it back and forth at all. So just keep on screwing it through, about halfway. So I'm going to put this bearing on this end. Very good fit. Now we can put that bearing into its position there. That's it. That's all you have to do. And then put this bearing into its position there. Okay, so then you get your rear bearing housing. Now on the outside, see, it's the inside, this matches up with the bearing here. So this is the second half of the bearing housing. So this bearing housing also allows you to connect the y-axis stepper motor as well. So what you need to do is get the 5mm thread by 16mm long, and we're just going to pop this on there. Oh, incidentally, there is a groove machined at the in the back side of this plate. This indicates that this is the bottom and the outside. So we're just going to pop that on there, and then we tighten these up. Okay, when you've got that tightened up, just catch hold of this and make sure that the y-axis moves relatively freely. And in fact, you should be able to catch hold of the gantry and pull it one way and push it all the way, and it should be free movement each direction. You should be able to rotate this, you know, as you're moving the gantry like this. Okay? Okay, so now we're going to fit the y-axis stepper motor. Now each stepper motor has a tag on it identifying which motor it is. So I'm going to turn the lead screw machined end with that flat facing that way. And the reason being is we're going to actually put the universal coupling onto here. Okay, so there's a little tiny screw here. Now that is going to clamp down onto the flat machined on there. So you just push it in so it butts up against the rubber, and we're going to do this up. So I'm trying to eliminate all the shadows if I can. Okay, so that's done up tight. Then we're going to tighten up the clamp here. And then we're going to position this so this is out this side, and we have a cutout here that we can see the stepper motor there, and we're going to turn that so the flat is facing out this way, which going to match up with that little clamping screw. And we're going to get our hard rubber spacer put on there, and we're going to put some retaining bolts in, just 2 at the top at the moment. 1, 2. Now the rubber should hold them there. I'm just going to place this in now. Okay, the motor's shaft has just gone in as well, I just felt that. And just put these screws in just to hold it. Okay. Now these screws are the 16mm, but they've already got a flat washer and a spring washer on them. And we're just going to nip these down tight now. So just do it so it just squeezes the lock washer, spring washer rather, down. And you can just see it squeezing the rubber. You don't want to over tighten these, but they need to be sort of quite firm, like that. If you can imagine, you're holding this end of the Allen screw. If you're doing it with 2 fingers like that, as tight as you can do with 2 fingers, without sort of hurting your fingers, like this. That's it. That's as tight as you need to go. And just check up. Okay, so now we're going to come up on this small grub screw. Okay, that one's tight. And rotate it round till we come to the clamp. There again, tight as you can with 2 fingers. That should be perfect. And the Y stepper motor is now installed. So we're now going to do the same process with the X. Now this time we're going to have the machine flat facing backwards. Okay, this time we've got 2 screws in the top. We offer it up with the open section facing back. So now we're going to install the X. So we just place the universal coupling on the top. do the clamp up. Okay, this time we have to place the rubber on the top of the Z-axis, and you get the Z-axis motor. Place it on, then get your 4 retaining screws and find the holes. There we go. There's one. So now we're going to install the small motor mat. Now you use the 5mm by 12mm long screws, or cap head screws, and we're going to use the bottommost screw hole there, and the second one up over this side. So now we can slot the motor in. Now I want to put the wires out on this side. Just put that there like that. And these are the 20mm by 5mm. So we're going to put it about halfway there. You know, I'm just positioning the housing at the lower fixture at the moment, but I can always raise it up higher, you know, if need be, when I've got it running. So for the moment, that is okay. We'll just raise it up a bit actually. So now we're going to fit the 2 X-axis limit brackets. The smaller one goes on the right hand side there. This one does 2 jobs. The limit switch comes and registers here on this flat, and this extended top piece is where the cable chain connects to. Now to affix these onto the front fascia panel, you use the 5mm thread by 8mm in length cap head screws. So the next item we're going to put on is the 2 Y-axis limit switches. Now they're put on here inverted like so, and there's some special little 3mm screws. Don't over tighten these screws because, you know, these are plastic bodies and you could crack them, but just firm. So the next thing to put on then is the Y-axis brackets. Which face inwards like that. And these are 10 by 4mm screws. So now we're going to put the 2 cable chain brackets on. Now the short one goes on the gantry using the 5mm thread by 8mm long. Go in here. It's a little bit too short for me to. This is probably an easier way to do it. And of course, the long one then goes on the bottom groove here at the back. Put the 2 screws in. Get that one started. Okay. Incidentally, that was 5mm by 20mm in length. So now we're going to assemble the bed. Now I would suggest starting one side and working our way across. The first item to go on is this dust baffle or side plate. Now this obviously goes on the back side like this. This dust baffle is put in place with the 5mm thread, and these are 12mm in length. So for a minute we'll just put this in finger tight. So to ensure this goes on absolutely square, you can butt this little shield up against the Y-axis limit switch triggering plates that we previously put on. That'll ensure you get an absolute square bed. So now you can get your first, now I think they call this a hybrid part, being made of 2 parts. So now we can put this on and butt this up against the edge of that plate, which will, it's exactly right, lines up perfectly with the hole. Yep. And the retaining screws for this are 5mm by 25mm in length. We'll just ease this over. So there you have the entire mechanical build of the SainSMART Genmitsu PROVerXL 6050 plus. 6050 indicating 500mm by 600mm of work area. So the rest of the build, being the wiring and the power supply and control box, which is already pre-built, will come in the next video, because I want to put all the electrical into one video, and I wanted to separate out the mechanical build. So as you can see, it is an absolute beautiful machine. If ever there was a female version of a small to medium CNC router, this is it. It's beautiful and it's well built. And in the next video we will be doing the entire electrical, including connecting up to a computer and the operating system for this machine. So if you are liking what you see so far, please like and subscribe, and you may consider becoming a patron to the channel, because I purchase all my machinery myself and I try and present to you the best instructional videos that I possibly can. And actually we're up to video number 838, I believe. So that's how many of the videos I have done on YouTube on both of my channels. So if you'd like to help the channel along, you could consider becoming a patron. So until the next video, bye for now.